Do you ever feel like your week is a blur and you're just in this loop of never-ending tasks and it's just so much, and then before you know it, it is Sunday night and you are like, oh my gosh, I have to do this all over again. Yes, I know. I can absolutely relate. I have 3 small kids. I run my own business and I work from home, and it can be a lot. But between the kids, between work and everything else, what happens is that home ends up feeling like a job that you can never clock out of. Well, I have really good news. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how you can create a home weekly routine that helps you buy back your time. That way, your schedule is a lot freer, your days are a lot lighter, and you have more time to focus on what matters. Listen, you don't need to choose between success and sanity, but you do need support. I mean, you're out here building your business, managing your home, and trying to be present for your family all on your own. It's exhausting. No matter how many planners, productivity hacks, or late nights you try, you still feel like you're falling behind. You don't need more time. You need a strategy and support system. That's exactly why I created the Maddie James and More community. It's a private community for women like you who are ambitious but overwhelmed, faith-filled but stretched thin. You're not meant to do this alone. And with this community, you don't have to. Let's create a plan that works for your life without the burnout. Join and more today at maddiejames.com/community. Welcome back to the Everyday Magic Podcast, y'all. I am your host, Maddie James, and today we're talking about home weekly routines. I'm telling you, this is so important because it can really be daunting if you do not have a routine out here. Here's why routines really matter. I think one thing, the biggest mistake that people make is that they think that routines are checklists and that they're plans, and it's a little bit different. A routine is simply the system of how you do something, right? Systems create rhythm, right? And Everyday Magic is all about you getting it in the rhythm of your life. So when you have routines, you have rhythm in your life instead of you simply reacting. The issue is a lot of times you're overwhelmed because you're reacting instead of doing what was planned, right? Instead of doing what was established as a routine, what was agreed upon. And today I'm going to help you create a home weekly routine that works for your life and not against it. By the end of this episode, you're going to learn the magic method, which helps you create your weekly home routine so it works for your life and not against it. We're also going to talk about the 3 things that are wasting your time the most at home. And then we're also going to talk about that 30-minute Sunday reset routine that you need to establish so you literally get more hours in your week. Now, good news is I made you a little freebie with this episode. I made you the Magic Home Routine Planner. And this is a low-lift printable planner that really is not 20, 30 pages. It's like 2 pages, and it really just helps you take 5 minutes out for you to establish what are the most important things that you need to get done during the week, the habits that need to be established, and the things that you need to do in your Sunday reset routine so you feel more prepared and more at ease and at peace when it comes to you going through the week. Now, you can get the show notes for today's episode along with the free Magic Home Routine Planner over at maddiejames.com/EP18. That's maddiejames.com/EP18. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Okay, so how do you create a home routine that actually works week to week, right? Well, let me be clear. This isn't about you having 20, 25 tasks on your list for your routine, right? A routine is one thing, a plan is another. And today we're talking about routines, right? Routines are simply how you do things. Now, whether or not you want to admit it, you have a routine right now that is working against you. You have a routine that is not helping you get your plans done, bringing it to fruition. You have a routine that is probably helping you lean into bad habits that you're trying to get rid of. But a routine should not be complicated. It should be simple. It should be sustainable, right? And it should give you back more time. That's the whole point of a routine, is that it's going to help you be a lot more efficient with your time and steward it wisely. All right. And that is why I created the Magic Method. Now, the Magic Method is essentially how you establish a weekly home routine that works specifically for you. Now, the switch up in this method is that magic doesn't stand for the same exact thing as everyday magic. Magic stands for map, automate, group, intention, and consistency. Listen, C is always going to stand for consistency because it matters that much. But let's break down the Magic Method and how you can make it your own starting this week. Now, when we talk about map in magic, we are talking about mapping it out. You cannot wing a routine. You cannot wing it. You cannot make it up in real time. This is something that has to be written down and thought of, right? Because if it's not written, it's going to get forgotten. And one thing that I want to help you remember is that when you're creating a new routine, don't feel silly if you need to write it down. If anything, you need to write it down to actually remember it. A lot of times we don't stick to routines because we never wrote it down and gave ourselves a chance to actually memorize it, remember it, and establish it, right? We think like we should just know. Right? Like I used to think like, oh, now that I'm a mom, I should just know what my like nightly routine with my kids should be. And it's like, it's not automatic. It's not automatic for anyone. You either have to learn it, or if you're establishing your own, you're absolutely going to have to write it down. But I submit this to you. When you're learning something new, don't you write it down? So that's why you take notes. Don't feel silly about that. If anything, that just shows how intentional you are being about mapping everything out. So when it comes to creating a new routine, especially a new weekly home routine, write this down. If you're creating a new after school routine for your home, for your kids, and for you to literally not go insane and yell at them every day because they're throwing their stuff everywhere, create a little cheat sheet, right, on an index card and put it by the door so when everybody comes to the door, they can see it, right? It's really important to make sure you set yourself up and every single person in your home for success when it comes to routines. One thing I want to also encourage you with is not to make the mistake of making a routine that only pertains to your needs and wants. I get it. If you're listening to this episode, there's a very good chance that you do most of the heavy lifting, if not all of the heavy lifting in your home. But if you live at the house, if you live at home with other people, like your spouse, your kids, involve them and make sure that you get agreement with the routine before you establish it. The last thing you want to do is make a routine that only works for you and nobody else, and then you're going to have to change it anyway, right? And then that not only does that make things confusing because now you have to relearn something that you established just for a few days, but then it also causes you to have resentment towards people you love, and that's not good for anybody. It's certainly not everyday magic. So when it comes to establishing new weekly routines, write it down, map it out, literally write index cards. So if you're establishing a routine after school, have it by the door so when the kids come through the door, they see it. If you're establishing a nighttime routine, right, for yourself, for your kids, for your spouse, make a little index card. Create something cute on Canva. If you're artsy and crafty with it, make something cute like a little note card. I remember one thing that encouraged me so much was when my sister was establishing her new nighttime routine. She literally had a note card and she drew a little moon with her Crayola markers and stars and literally had step by step, I think it was like 4 or 5 bullet points of everything that she needed to do, from washing her face, taking her bath, and saying her prayers, right? And I know that seems like, oh, you should just know how to do that. And it's like, well, if you just knew how to do that, then would we be listening to this episode, right? So one thing that I want to make sure you know, that mapping something out, writing something down, especially something as simple and practical as a new routine, is not silly. That is going to help you pretty much establish it, not just for yourself, but everybody in your home. One thing I will say to you is that you don't want to fall into the trap of writing down your to-do list and making it your routine. Your routine is something that needs to be done every day for your house to have a rhythm, right? So when the kids come home, they can't just throw their stuff anywhere, right? If every time they come home and they just throw their stuff on the kitchen counter, like, it literally drives me crazy. My kids are 10, 7, and 5. And 4 days out of the week, I make their lunches Monday through Thursday, right? And so I pack their lunch the night before almost always, unless they take hot food. And so they know the rules. rule, right? When they come through the door, they need to put their backpacks on the cubby and put their shoes in the cubby, right? But then they need to take their water bottles and their lunch bags and put it on the kitchen counter so I can wash out their bento boxes and work on making their lunches either before or after dinner, right? They love when I make their lunches for school, right? And I'm like, great, it's a pleasure. It brings me joy and delight to bring them pleasure and joy. However, set me up for success, right? Let's create a routine where it's easy. It creates flow. There's a rhythm for mommy to make your lunch, right? I should not have to tell you to bring your water bottle, right? But guess what? This is something I discussed with my kids. This is something that I've discussed with Chris. This is something that is understood and agreed upon within our family because we all live in the home. So when I'm talking about home, remember, I'm not solely telling you to take on all the brunt of the routine. I'm saying that establish something that works for everybody in your home and doesn't just solely cause you to do the heavy lifting. Listen, if I'm making the school lunches, I shouldn't have to go find the lunch bags or the water bottles, right? If you know how to tell me what brand new toy you want for your birthday or for Christmas, then guess what? You definitely can handle the responsibility of bringing your backpack or bringing your lunch bag on the kitchen counter and your water bottle so it sets me up for success, right? So map it out in a way where it works out for everybody. It creates this flow. The reason why a home routine really does work so well is because it's going to create a flow in your home. Anytime something becomes stagnant, right? Whether it's laundry, whether it's book bags and shoes, they just start staying still, you no longer have flow. And the whole point of a weekly home routine is to create a flow within your house. This is going to make you love being at home more, but this is also going to create initiative and set clear expectations for you and everybody who lives at home with you. God didn't call you to hustle alone. He called you to walk in alignment and community. I mean, you're doing all the things, planning, praying, working hard, but it still feels like something's missing. You're starting to wonder if success has to come at the cost of your peace, your family, or your faith. Let me tell you, it doesn't. You don't have to balance it alone. You need a community that gets it. The Maddie James and More community is where ambitious women of faith come together to get the strategy, support, and sisterhood they need to thrive without the burnout, guilt, or overwhelm. Stop trying to balance it all alone. Join and more at maddiejames.com/community and build the life God has called you to with support. Okay, so the A in the MAGIC method stands for automate. Automate the small stuff. Stop driving yourself crazy and trying to think of everything in real time. Now, before I break down the thing that I do to automate almost everything, let me be clear. You better use all this tech and stuff that we have around us. Alexa, Siri, Google, girl, they are all part of my automation dream team. I can't wait to tell them what to do so they can remind me not to forget something, right? So I absolutely will set a timer. Like if I want to do a quick tidy up, because guess what? Sometimes doing a tidy up becomes you deep cleaning, you're wiping down baseboards and different things like that. And my friend, it doesn't need to be all of that. Sometimes a quick tidy up simply needs to be a quick tidy up. You will be amazed what you can get done in an uninterrupted 10-minute span if you don't look at your phone and you don't allow yourself to get distracted, but you only do 10 minutes. That's what these timers are for on all of these different tech tools, right? Whether it's your Apple Watch, whether it's Alexa, whatever have you. I am the queen of using a timer, and it has been so helpful and so efficient in my life, even to the point where my kids will do it, right? Where they'll be like, if I tell them to go clean the playroom and stuff like that, they'll set the timer for 10 or 15 minutes because they know they only have 15 minutes left before dinner time. So really allow yourself to automate small stuff like a tidy up, whether you're cooking something and you don't want to forget, if you know something needs to be in the oven only for 3 minutes, it's so easy to start scrolling on your phone and then 11 minutes goes by and you burn something. Girl, use these timers. Automate time simply by using tech and tools. It's one of those small but mighty things that will change everything in your home routine. Now, here's how I automate the small stuff. One thing that is literally sucking the life out of your productivity, and it is costing you so much time, is making SADs, right? I talk about this in the book. We've talked about this in a previous episode where we talk about using your time wisely, and we're going to talk about it here again today. And that, my friend, is small A decisions. Anytime you're making SADs, you are wasting so much time. Now, I go into this in depth if you're interested in it over on episode 13. So you can head on over to maddiejames.com/013 to listen to how to use your time more wisely. But when we talk about SADs are small A decisions. And anytime you are making small A decisions that you could have made ahead of time, you are wasting so much time. You are literally wasting 2 to 3 hours of your week every single week whenever you are making small decisions in real time. The way I automate the small stuff and avoid making SADs is with magic rules. So what is a magic rule? Well, a magic rule is simply a rule that you establish to decide something once so you don't ever have to decide it again, right? And that's the magic. Once you decide once, you're free. An example of my magic rule is on Mondays, I wear jeans. Yesterday was Monday. I'm filming this right now on a Tuesday. Yesterday, I wore jeans. For the last 2 years, I have not had to think about, maybe it's longer at this point, because I know this rule was established when I wrote the book, because it's in the book. So nearly for the last 3 to 4 years, I have not had to think about what I'm going to wear on a Monday. It's just jeans. I have a friend who has a rule as well. On Friday, she wears all black. She's doing a lot of stuff. She's making school runs with her kids and stuff like that. And it's just an easy way that even if she spills something on herself, she still looks good. And having this magic rule has freed me because now I don't have to. Monday morning is already daunting enough, right? Because you're going from weekend mode to weekday mode, right? So the last thing you need to do is be racking your brain about, ooh, what am I going to wear today, right? And you can avoid decision fatigue. That's my favorite thing. Avoid decision fatigue. That is what's causing you so much overwhelm. And you deserve overflow, not overwhelm. So make a magic rule. Another magic rule we have on Tuesdays, guess what we have for dinner? Tacos. That's the easy one, right? Chris is usually the one who makes dinner throughout the week. And so guess what? He doesn't even have to do the inevitable, babe, what are we having for dinner? Because on Tuesdays, we have already established it, right? So maybe for you, you're having pasta Mondays. Maybe for you, you're having, fish Fridays, right? Whatever works best for you and your family. But make that magic rule. Another magic rule that I have that I absolutely love is I treat my kids like they're the Power Rangers, and I have designated everybody their own color. So for Mesa, she's mint green. For Caliana, she's pink. And for Christian, he's blue. Establishing this magic rule has created so much peace in my life because when I buy my kids something, I almost always buy them the same thing in their designated color, whether it's cups, it's plates, it's folders, whatever have you. So when I see a pink cup in the middle of the living room, I don't have to wonder who needs to come move their cup. I just call Caliana to come and move her cup because that's her designated color. If you want something to drink, when you go and grab a cup from in the dishwasher or from in the cabinet, you know exactly which one is your cup and you can avoid a bunch of fights. But this has also been an incredible rule for people who gift my kids stuff, who know our magic rules. Like my mom knows exactly what colors to buy everybody because she knows the magic rule is mint green, pink, and blue for Mesa, Caliana, and Christian. Right? Sometimes I have an alternate color, like mint green can be kind of hard. So Mesa's alternate color is lavender. Christian's alternate color is gray. But for the most part, everybody has their designated color. And this has created so much peace in my life because I don't have to wonder like, ooh, which color would she like? Girl, she's been designated that. Now, if they want to change their colors, as they get older, great. But when mommy is buying it, it's mint green, it's pink, and it's blue. Another really great magic rule we've established when it comes to our weekly home routine is on Friday nights, Chris and I have date night. So the kids know that they're going to their grandparents' house, whether it's my parents, almost always. If not, they go to Chris's parents' house because we have set that time apart to spend a few hours to be Maddie and Chris, not mom and dad, not CEO and COO, to just spend time as husband and wife. And I love this rule too because it literally with all the rules I just told you, you see how it's created all of these different bones, right, for our week, right? It's literally creating and shaping your week without you even have to really think about it. I literally do not have to think about what is happening on Friday night unless it's a special occasion, like if we're traveling for work or for leisure, or if something is happening at the kids' school. On Friday night, almost always, I will say Chris and I are remarkable at this. We're going to have date night, whether we're going to somewhere fancy downtown, having a staycation, or staying at home and ordering takeout and watching our favorite Marvel show. right? And this is great too. I love this rule because it really does also establish to our kids that we don't just value being their parents, we value our marriage and we value each other. So when they grow up and get married, they know that they have permission to do the same. Let me tell you something. There is nothing like automating the small stuff, like just giving each day a theme, right? I told you Tuesdays are for Taco Tuesdays. Fridays are for trash and laundry pickup, right? So we don't even have to guess. Saturdays are for grocery pickups. Sundays are for church and for resetting the house for the work and school week, right? So here, there's an established weekly home routine, and you can do the same. Theme your days, have designated times to do certain things, and set clear expectations, not just for you, but for everybody in your family and your entire home. Listen, this isn't about you doing more. This is about you doing less better. And anytime you automate, you allow yourself to do that. Okay, so the G in magic method, the G in the magic method is for grouping tasks. Group these tasks, batch, batch, batch. Batch, please. It's literally what I wrote in the book. Batch as much as you can. The thing that is causing you to waste your time is you keep on starting and stopping something. Let's break this down so you really understand what I mean. So something as simple as putting away the groceries has become a time suck for so many people because they literally are just going in all the directions, right? So I imagine that when you get your groceries, you probably get your groceries, you bring them in, whether they're delivered or you pick them up or whatever have you, and you take them out of each bag, right? And you take the milk out, you put it in the fridge, right? You take the dry pasta out, you put it into the pantry. You take the juice out and you go back and you put it in the fridge and different things like that, right? So you're probably going fridge, pantry, fridge, cabinet, pantry, fridge, right? And so you're going in all these different directions. So when I put away my groceries, I batch them. I literally take every single grocery out of the bag and I put it on the countertop. And on the countertop, I have created 4 groups. I've created a fridge group, freezer group, pantry group, and cabinet group. And I put everything in their designated category, right? And I make sure that I take out every single bag. I am not tempted to do one bag at a time. I take out everything. And then what happens is that I fly through putting away groceries, literally, because I start with the freezer, then I go with the fridge, then I go with the pantry, then I go with the cabinets. And it literally makes the process so seamless because I'm not starting and stopping. I'm not going to the fridge, then going to the pantry. And this seems like it's not that big of a deal, but I'm telling you, every single time you have to redirect yourself to go back to where you already were, my friend, it's a time suck. I literally am spending 45 seconds to put things in the fridge, 45 seconds to put things in the freezer, 45 seconds to put things in the pantry, 45 seconds to put things in the cabinet, because I'm not starting and stopping. And the reason why this is also an insanely incredible approach and routine to have is because then when the kids do the inevitable, Mom, can I help you? It becomes easy because I'm not like, grab this, then grab that. Look, all of these go in the fridge, put it here. All of these go in the freezer. And now Mesa even knows how to put groceries away because I've taught her this very incredible batching approach. And it really does help our weekly home routine every time we get groceries on Saturday mornings. So batching, group tasking, grouping your tasks is really, really massive. I know it seems super little, but I'm telling you, it's going to be a game changer in how you do everything. I do the same thing when I'm unloading my dishwasher. I literally take everything out of the dishwasher. Everything that is going in this cabinet goes here. Everything that goes in this cabinet goes here. Everything that goes in this cabinet goes on the countertops. And then I just go and put it all away. So I'm not going from this cabinet to that cabinet to this drawer to this drawer to that cabinet. I'm not doing all of that. When I go to this cabinet, I'm going there once. When I go to this drawer, I'm going there once. And this is really such a great way to maximize your time. And I know, again, it might seem like, oh, why didn't I ever think of that? Well, for most of us, we weren't taught to do things that way. But batching tasks is such a really, really great way for you to use your time more wisely and to ask for help, because then it doesn't become confusing because you've grouped the tasks together. Also, when you group tasks, it makes it easier to delegate. Listen, you can get everything that you want done. You just don't have to do it all yourself. Again, because I'm batching putting away the groceries, having Mesa jump in and help me put away groceries because I've already put them on the countertop makes it simple, right? So don't be afraid to batch and group tasks together. It's absolutely going to help you buy yourself, at the minimum, you're probably going to buy yourself another hour of time this week. And also, in addition to grouping your tasks, really don't be afraid to delegate, like I talked about, but delegate with a system. I think a lot of times kids get overwhelmed when we teach them something because it's not attached to a system, right? Mesa is so great, and she almost volunteers to put away the groceries sometimes because she understands the system. It's the same thing with the kids, right? It's like, you know that shirts go in this drawer, pants go in this drawer. So putting away laundry isn't so daunting for the kids anymore because there's a specific system with it, right? You know that things shouldn't be on the ground. Pick that up off the ground. You know this is how you make up your bed. This is how you make up a bed. So if I say, hey, you guys go do a tidy, my kids understand that a tidy means get everything off the floors and make up your bed, right? If you need help, call me. But because you understand that this is the system that has been established, telling them to go do something when it's part of a routine, part of a system, becomes a lot less daunting because you've even taught them how to group tasks together. So batching and delegating is such an excellent way to group your tasks together and maximize your weekly home routine. You're not stuck because you're not working hard enough. You're stuck because you're doing it alone. You're juggling everything: the kids, work, business, home, thinking that if you just push a little bit harder, you'll finally arrive. But what if you're not meant to do more? What if you're meant to do what actually aligns with God's plan for you? The Maddie James and More community helps women like you go from scattered to strategic, from overwhelmed to overflow. Here, you'll find the strategy, support, and sisterhood you need to fully show up for your family and your business without sacrificing yourself in the process. You don't need to keep doing life alone. Let's build your life on purpose, with purpose, in community. Join today at maddiejames.com/community. So even in our house, we have this little bowl near our front door. It is the key bowl. Every single person who crosses the threshold of my home knows this, right? So if you are somebody who is visiting, whether it's like overnight or whether you're just stopping by, you know to put your keys in this bowl. And just designating little zones like this, whether it's the bowl by the front door, whether it's the drop-off area and the cubbies and the hooks by the garage door, little things like that absolutely helps you maximize your time and buy back your time. And here's why: because it's part of the routine. So when I come in from either picking up the kids from school or going grocery shopping, I literally just put my keys in that bowl. You know why? Because I don't want to have to look for my keys, because looking for stuff is literally setting you up for failure every single week. It is a time suck like no other. When you don't have designated areas for certain things, you end up having to look for it. You have to look for stuff when your home is cluttered, and you have to look for stuff when you have not designated a particular spot for certain things. You know what's the worst? When you have to go somewhere, especially in the morning, and you have to be on time and you can't find your keys. You know what literally drives me crazy is when the kids need something for school, but we cannot find it because there was not a designated spot, or they did not put it in the spot that I told them to put it in. That literally drives me crazy. So make sure you create intention for each space that you have to make everything in your routine flow a lot better. Girl, this morning routine, getting these kids out the door no later than 7:30 means that drop-off area has to be in order. Everybody's shoes that they need to wear with their school uniform needs to be in the cubby. Like, it's springtime now. So, but no matter what season it is, whether it is summertime and it's hot and they need to wear a hat, if it is springtime and it's rainy and they need their raincoats, if it's wintertime and they need their winter coats or mittens and gloves, I make sure that anything that they need for that day is within that designated drop-off zone. Because if we have to stop and look for things, it's going to take at least an hour, if not two, every single week. And that is one of the things that drives me wild. And I'm sure it's one of those things that overwhelm you and take you over the edge as well. So use your space intentionally. So other thing you want to keep in mind is when you're using your space intentionally is you want to make things accessible, especially when they're for the kids, but make things easy to reach and easy to get to. I get it. Like, sometimes when things get aesthetically pleasing, sometimes they become non-accessible, right? Maybe they're breakable, maybe they're kind of sharp. So yes, I love aesthetics, but think about access first and then aesthetic when it comes to the intentionality of your space, especially when it comes to your kids. Those hooks that I'm talking about in my drop-off area near the garage door, they're at eye level for the kids, so they can easily hang up hats, jackets, coats, and the like. So it's really about accessibility to make the space not only intentional, but usable. Then, of course, you want to refresh your space seasonally. Remember, it's all about making sure that you are using your space in a way that is functional. So again, that drop-off area, like in the summertime, we don't need winter coats over there, right? We need maybe raincoats and like sun hats so they're easy to grab and go during the summer. In the wintertime, we don't need to have sun hats, right? We need to have beanies and scarves and winter coats. So refresh your space seasonally so you can be intentional about how you use it. And then also, instead of you having to dig and rummage through a basket or the garage looking for something that you use during a certain season, it's already ready for you to go because you were intentional about that seasonal refresh. Remember, when your space feels good, you feel good. And that's magic. Last but not least, the C in magic. In the magic method and in everyday magic is consistency. This matters. It's consistency over perfection, because here's what I will say. It's going to take you a minute to get adjusted to a new weekly home routine. And I want you to extend yourself grace while being really intentional, right? But a semi-done weekly home routine is better than none at all, right? So maybe there's 5 things you need to establish in your weekly home routine to get more time. And maybe this week, because it's your first week, you're going to get 2 of them done. But guess what? That is better than 0. So take the win. A win is a win. And it's important for you to establish and acknowledge that and to keep going. Just because you get 2 out of those 5 things done doesn't mean that you need to quit having a weekly home routine. It just means you need to try again and just pay attention to the details. Maybe you need to make slight tweaks and not completely overhaul every single thing, right? So stay consistent with it. Encourage your family to stay consistent with it. Be graceful with yourself. And remember that your weekly home routine is going to look different every single season, right? Because the weekly home routine you have in the summer when the kids aren't at school, maybe they're doing camp or maybe they're just at home, but that's going to look different than when they go back to school in the fall, right? And that's going to look different during the winter and during the spring. So make sure that you're creating a weekly home routine that is relevant to the season that you're in, and it's flexible to adjust with the seasons. So here's what I want you to do. Because we're focusing on consistency and not perfection, one thing I want you to do is to pick one habit that you're going to establish in your weekly home routine and just focus on that. Focus on that first. If you actually get it done and you can stick with it during this week, then you can add another one, right? But do not add another habit until you stick with this one, right? And then when you get it, celebrate it. Celebrate this win. It is worth celebrating. And then add the next one and then the next one until you have established a weekly home routine that works for your life and not against it. Now, here is what is going to make this magic weekly home routine stick for you, and that is the Sunday reset, okay? Now, we did an entire episode on the magic of a Sunday reset routine, and you can listen to that over at maddiejames.com. But one thing I want you to remember is that just taking 30 minutes on a Sunday afternoon, give the kids screen time, let them go outside and play, whatever it is you need to get 30 minutes of uninterrupted time, and you do some thinking time. Thinking time is going to let you jot down every single thing that you need to get done throughout the week, right? Then it's going to allow you to revisit your new weekly home routine, or maybe it's not even new, maybe it's simply revised, and say, okay, I know on Monday we got to do this because the kids have practice. Okay, I know on Tuesday we're going to do this because we like to have tacos on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday we're going to do this. And you want to look at your routine in addition to your plan. When your plan and your routine are compatible, that, my friend, is where you have rhythm. But oftentimes we make plans that are against our routine, or we make plans and don't adjust the routine to make that plan fit, or to adjust the plans actually to make the routines fit. So what's really important is to take time out on a Sunday so you know what you're going to be doing throughout the week from a routine standpoint. This is important because the thing that really ends up kicking you in the face, metaphorically, is that things just sneak up on you, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this. Oh, we didn't do this, right? You think everything's good, right? And then you look and you're like, oh my gosh, we have this pile of laundry that didn't get done or didn't get put away, right? Because you never established it in your routine. If you guys know that Saturday nights are for putting away laundry, or maybe Sunday nights are for putting away laundry so everybody knows where their clean clothes are for work and school, then guess what? You don't even have to wonder how laundry got put away because you know that Sunday is putting away laundry night, right? So establish thinking time. Thinking time is so massive for me. Not only did I write about it in the book, I literally made it an entire page in the Everyday Magic Planner. So make sure you guys are setting aside time to make your Sunday reset routine. So write down everything you need for your magic weekly home routine and write down the most important things that need to get done. So here's what I'd like to use for the Sunday reset in a real quick recap. Brain dump everything you need to do for the week, right? So your Sunday reset routine is now part of your weekly home routine, right? Then I want you to do a 10-minute tidy. Really do a tidy up so you get to receive your home in a refreshed and orderly way. Now, this is not the time for a deep clean, right? Like very seldom on a Sunday do you have time for a deep clean between events, visiting family, and just simply resting, right? So let's make sure that we just simply tidy up in 10 minutes because you set the timer, you're automating that task, and you're doing a tidy. And guess what? You don't have to do it alone. The kids can tidy their room, you can tidy the kitchen, your husband can tidy the living room, whatever have you. And then, of course, make sure everybody in your house sets out their clothes and everything that they need for Monday morning. The worst is when you cannot find the thing that you never paid attention to during the weekend that you need on Monday morning. I make sure all three of the kids, they pull their own school clothes on Sunday night to make sure that they are ready for success for the day. We make sure everybody's backpacks are loaded up, and I absolutely make sure that those school lunches are made, and I even decide what's going to be for breakfast for Monday morning. Because on Monday morning, I like to be ready, and usually Monday morning is essentially how the rest of the week goes. So using the Sunday to reset and prep for Monday is such a great way to do this. That Sunday reset is quick, but it's powerful. And what I like most about it is that it really does, once you do it over and over again and you make it a consistent thing, it becomes this anchor habit that not only you do on a routine basis, but the rest of your home understands and does as well. So listen, this entire magic method is to remind you that this isn't about having a 20, 25, 30 task list, right? This is about you establishing a routine so you have a flow that allows you to be more free, that allows you to be lighter within your days, and it allows you to actually have more time to do more of what matters, like resting, like spending time with your kids or your husband, or spending time with friends and loved ones, or simply just sitting and relaxing and enjoying your home, because that matters too. Now, if you want to grab the free Magic Weekly Home Routine Planner and get today's show notes for this episode, be sure to head on over to maddiejames.com/EP18. That is maddiejames.com/EP18. And if today's episode helped you out a lot, send this over to a friend who you know needs help establishing some new routines. Maybe they're a new mom. Maybe they are just getting into the rhythm of new things. Send this over to them. I would really appreciate it. And please do me a huge favor. Make sure you take 60 seconds out to subscribe to the podcast, whether you're watching here on YouTube or you are listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe so you get notifications for new episodes, and also make sure you review this podcast. Give me 5 stars. Let me know what you think about this episode, because every time you leave a review, what it does is it helps listeners like you find the podcast and listen as well. So please make sure you take time out to rate and review the Everyday Magic podcast. If you have been looking for community, you have been feeling overwhelmed, you are like, oh my gosh, I just cannot get it right. You've made plans. You've done the vision board thing. You've been visualizing and all of that, and it simply isn't enough. My friend, it's not because you're doing anything wrong. You're just doing it by yourself. And so I want to invite you to join my private community and more. We go live Monday through Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern every single morning, just so we can support each other, right? The truth is, you don't need more balance. You need support, and you don't have to do this thing called life alone. So join us over at And More by going to maddiejames.com/community. That's maddiejames.com/community to become a member today. All right. That does it for this episode. I hope that this helped you so much. Remember, starting this week, establish a new weekly home routine and allow yourself to just pick one habit that you're going to establish in your routine this week and celebrate that win when you get it done. All right? Remember, every day matters. You might as well make it magic. And the magic is you. I'll see you next time here on the Everyday Magic Podcast. Bye.